And with that being said, let's move on to our next. One of the things that we always talk about is why don't why don't rideshare drivers get tipped? You hear, oh, I'll tip you in the app. But the problem is
bullshit.
You don't get tipped in the app. We know. Actually, you know what? I got called out one time on it before.
Jeff does.
Like, oh, I'll tip you on the app. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. She's like, excuse me? And I said, do you know how many times I've been told that I'll be tipped in the app? And I'm like, if I had $1 for every time somebody said that, I would have hundreds of dollars right now.
One star for you.
No, she actually ended up tipping me in the app.
Oh, you made her feel bad.
No. She called me out, and I'm like, look, this is what's going on. Do you understand? So,
speaking of the devil, the Sunshine Man is here with the tipping record of United States of America at 45%. Jeff, I hate you.
But either way, well, tipping on its own is always appreciated when it comes to this, because unfortunately rates continue to go down and prices of everything else continue to go up. So there's got to be a happy medium in between, and the tip can help go with that when it comes to that happy medium in between. But I don't know about you, but I go to Five Guys, I get food. I order my food, I walk up, tell the person my order, and then I pay with my card. Yeah. And then it shows me, would you like to tip?
Yeah.
And 15, 25%. Or in the corner, it says, no, thanks. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, I tip people according to probably what you should be tipped. Like your bartender, your wait staff. So, people who are waiting on you when you go out, your coat person, people who are doing services for you. When you're checking somebody out, I could bring in the damn thing and do it myself. You're making the food. Delivery driver, rideshare driver, the people who should be tipped should get tipped. But it's gone much more than that.
Yeah, it's gone crazy. Yeah.
It's gone crazy.
I am with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, look, man, I saw this on CNBC. I'm like, it's very, very proper for our times now. Tipping in the United States has gotten out of control. 100% agree. I'm not sure if fast food chains have that yet, but a lot of other like Five Guys or Habit or In-N-Out or whatever, they have it now. I'm like, or Starbucks, or I'm like, bro, the coffee cost me already $9 for water, and I'm like, I'm not sure. But anyway, so during the 1950s, people commonly tipped 10% of the bill. By the 70s and 80s, that percentage had jumped to 15%. In 2023, people typically tip anywhere from 15 to 25%. Consumers on average said they tip more than 21%. Okay. So there was a comment here of Thomas Farley, and he says, what we're seeing now nationwide is something that is known as tipflation. I love that word. Tipflation, from tip and inflation, tipflation.
Yep.
At every opportunity, we're being presented with a tablet that asking us how much we like to tip. I agree. You know what? I have a great idea here, Chris. How about we put tablets in the back headrest, and it says, how would you like to tip on this Uber ride or something?
Dude, I was thinking about something like that before, like actually just building up an app that'll like connect a Stripe account or something.
Yeah, bro.
And you could just tip in there and then scan your card or something. Because at least that way you could at least try to get a tip. Or better yet, you keep the doors locked with the childproof on, and you say you go back behind them, and you're like, all right, hey, you got to sweeten the pot if you want to get out. Don't do that. Please do not do that. That was for entertainment purposes and laughter only.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Maybe we should talk to Uber about this. Give us some tablets with the tip percentage like Starbucks does. The coronavirus pandemic put more upward pressure on tipping. Agree. Because people were tipping right and left to get their food first, because there was only limited amount of drivers. And it's like, if you tip the most, you're going to get the food first. During the height of those days, consumers started tipping for things they never had to do before. I agree. Meanwhile, if people were willing to give the person delivering food to their home a 30% tip for service, why not ask if they like the tip when they come to pick it up? Just like you did at Five Guys. Like, okay. Restaurants started doing that more often, and they practice. Now, I think I have a solution for this. All this. And by the way, shout out to Kellen Browning from New York Times. Amazing article yesterday. Please go check it out. He was in LA. It was the weekend that I was sick, Chris. We had all this figured out. We were going to hang out. We were going to do deliveries, and he was going to write the article. Well, he wrote the article anyway. He went to Pacific Palisades, picked himself 3 cherry pickers, and he wrote an amazing article about this tipping culture and all these drivers, how they're cherry picking. This guy picked like $400 worth of sushi and only got tipped $20, and he was disappointed. And a lot of different comments. However, here's my 2 cents when it comes to this, okay? The reason last mile delivery has become literally working for tips is because Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub minimum base fares are down to $2 a delivery. How about this? How about we force the companies who are collecting a whole bunch of service fee, delivery fee, bullshit fee, that fee,
advertising fee,
all this stuff, and then paying the driver $2? How about you take some of that money as opposed to putting the pressure on the customer to tip in order for that trip or ride for me to be a profitable one? I mean, I see the point.
I agree right
there. If I'm
there.
taking $400 worth of sushi from this door, taking it to this door, should I expect that customer, because they probably paid $50 to $60 additional in charges, service fee, delivery fee, all that shit, right? Should I expect that customer also to sit there and tip me 15, 20% of $400, which is $70, $80? No. My answer is no. I didn't make the food. I just picked it up here, dropped it off there. Now, to me, the reason tip culture is becoming this ridiculous is because employees or gig companies are not paying drivers enough when it comes to base rates, period. If Uber Eats paid me $10 for 2 miles, I would work for no tips whatsoever. But then if they do that, their unit economics is so bad that they're never going to make any money. So they take $20 from the customer, pay us $5 on the base side. And they want the customer to subsidize my earnings. Well, that's a bunch of BS, man. That's why tipping culture is out of what do you call it?
Yeah.
Out of whatever.
I think the other aspect of the whole thing too is, when it comes first, the question is, are the people or when you're tipping somebody at some of these places, are they actually getting it? Is the thing, because not always they're getting the tip. Sometimes that just goes to the owner or the manager or somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is one thing to know.
So yeah, that's a great question. Next time, I'm going to go to a place that has the tablet, says, I'm picking up my own food. You just cooked it. But let's say, I'm going to ask that question. That's a great question. I go, yeah, I'm going to tip 15%. Who gets the money? The cook gets the money. The cashier gets the money. The house gets the money. I don't know. The owner gets the money. I don't know what's happening to that tip, right? Yeah, actually, that's a great question, bro.
Yeah, and that's, I think part of that is some of the greed that people like restaurant owners see that and then say, oh, well, we can capitalize on that, and we could bring in some more money that way or something like that. And I think that's kind of how it started, when you're getting these other places that all of a sudden are putting it on there. If they are sharing it with the house, or if they're not taking it in the house and they're sharing it within their house, meaning all the people that are working there, that's one thing that's different. But some of these places, I know they do not share it with the house. They keep the tip.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
And so that I think is part of it. And then you have other people who are seeing that, and then they're like, oh, well, our competition is doing that, we should do that too. And so you're getting this domino effect of everything, where people are adding this tip where it wasn't customarily tipped. I only tip where it's customary, not where it's this new weird way of doing things.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry, you're
100% agree with you. I'm going to do what you said, and next time I go, I'm forced to tip, and that's the last paragraph. It says here, to that point, 22% of respondents to the survey said when they are presented with various suggested tip amounts on that tablet, they feel pressure to tip. No shit. You look like an idiot if you don't tip there. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't.
They're all going to go like, oh, let me spit in this food now before I hand it to them. And one other thing, put that up, like I keep calling him Norma. Jeff says, please do not forget that Uber and Lyft, Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub make up to 30% from the restaurants as well. So, hey, buddies, okay, DoorDash, Uber Eats, you charge the customer all these fees. You charge your restaurant the 30%, 15 to 30%, anywhere in that range. Okay, why don't you show us the money instead of, what was it like prevalent in the first days of rideshare, Chris? It was VC money, right? Venture capital money. And we were given all these bonuses, and they were spending like drunken sailors on drivers, right? Well, now
they also had to spend all their parties.
Yeah. Why are you forcing the customer to subsidize my earnings? Pay me from some of that 30%. Pay me some of that 20% you charge up front in service fees, delivery fees, city fees, whatever other fees you have, computer fees, whatever it is, credit card fees. Send me some of that, as opposed to forcing having the customer feel bad enough to tip for you. And that's the only way last mile delivery is a feasible idea.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't feel bad not tipping at non-customary tipper places. So
I don't either, honestly. I don't either.
Like, if
I'm buying a cup of Starbucks, bro, I'm not going to tip you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe other people are, but if I sit down, if I eat, all this stuff. If I take rideshare, I always tip. Yep. But my life is in your hands, man. Like, if I don't tip now, when the heck am I supposed to tip? I mean, you're driving me,
exactly.
Me, literally.
Wait, does that mean you should be tipping your pilot too?
Well, I think they're making enough. So if there was, then
No. I'm just being facetious there. But either way, I mean, for me personally, I tip where it's customary. I don't tip where it's not. And I don't have a problem not tipping. The other thing too is check those percentages because they tend to not be right. Either they may be taking it off the total of the bill, including the tax versus the subtotal. So it's not truly a 10% could truly be like 14%. But yeah, check your percentages there, because a lot of the time they're actually higher than, like, the dollar amounts will actually be higher than what the real percentage amount is. So if it says $4.34 at 15%, the reality is it might actually be like $3.78 at 15%. So that's another thing to watch when it comes down to it, because you might be getting more in that way. But I don't know. Beyond that, that's where I'm at.
I think it's out of control. Tipping is out of control. I mean, pay your employees and pay your drivers and pay your independent contractors well enough, so we don't need to have these arguments. And we see it all day long. Doordash and this. And then drivers go and confront their customers saying, why didn't you tip? I'm like, that's none of your business, bro. I didn't tip, right? Don't take the order to start with. I mean, what else is there, right? But don't do that either. So it's out of control. Just please, let's fix this. Pay your drivers a decent amount as base fare, and then so we don't have to deal with this. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and then it's just bonus on top of it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club, with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you get notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.